Everybody, I'm Grandmaster Ben Feingold. This is 5 Minutes with Ben, and I'm Ben. And we're going to look at a game at a tournament that actually I attended, although I did not attend this round. This was in Montreal, 1979, one of the first Super GM tournaments, especially in North America. Players like Karpov, Spassky, Timon, Kovalik, Tal, Larsen, and those were the weak players. Okay, and Tal tied for first with Karpov in this tournament. If I remember correctly, and I'm not saying that I do, because it was 1979, and I was 9 years old. I think Tal and Karpov both got 10 out of 14. It was an 8-player double round robin. There were 14 games. Okay, so this position is super complicated. So the arbiter had to stop the game because it was too exciting. Anyway, Tal and Larsen, two of the most uncompromising players in chess history. So no surprise they had a sharp Sicilian. Okay, this position, Tal played a move probably most people wouldn't consider, because black is threatening, knight takes bishop check, winning the game immediately, and bishop is attacked twice, and the knight is attacked twice, and somehow material's equal because we're only on move 14. But you can tell this was a very sharp Sicilian. Okay, so Tal won the game pretty quickly. Basically, black's king isn't very safe. So Tal played bishop f3. Tal has the two bishops. Now, Tal stops, knight takes e2 check, and he's threatening to take the knight, either with the queen or the pawn. Then the rook is hanging, and so forth. Okay, so Larsen has a hanging knight, and white has a hanging rook. So black played knight takes rook. Okay, and again, Tal played a move a lot of people wouldn't think of. You would probably think rook takes knight or bishop takes rook, because those moves seem reasonable. But Tal liked his two bishops, and he wanted to maintain his threats whilst keeping the black king in the center and saving his bishop on e7. The move looks obvious when I see it, but before I see it, I don't know. Played bishop to d6. So, man, that bishop's going to be on d6 for a long time, which means that Larsen's king is going to be on e8 for a long time. So now, Larsen's up a rook, but his knight's hanging, his queen's hanging, his rook's hanging. But that's it. Nothing else is hanging. Okay, so the queen is the most important. Larsen said, why don't we play an endgame, since my king's on e8? He played queen c4. Again, Tal played a brilliant move. He could trade queens and then take the rook, equalizing material, but instead he played queen b6. And white is still down a rook, but white has added to his arsenal of threats not only bishop takes the rook or rook takes the knight, which both look reasonable, but bishop c6 check is also pretty annoying. Okay, so Larsen doesn't really have a way to save his rook, so he played the move knight f2, and I guess if white takes the knight, I don't know what black would play. Maybe black would play queen takes a2, threatening queen a1 check, winning the rook. Seems pretty dangerous. But anyway, Tal didn't care about that knight or the rook, because he's tall, he just sacrifices. So he played bishop c6 check. Larsen obviously played bishop d7. They traded on d7. Tal played queen b7 check. Notice Tal's been down a rook for the last 5 or 6 moves. Now, black has 3 legal moves. Queen c7 is terrible, so we won't analyze that. King e8 is even worse than queen c7 because of queen e7 checkmate. So that makes it easy. Larsen played king to d8. Now, Tal said you got 2 rooks, 1 for each of me. He took the rook on a8, and if black plays king to d7, probably queen takes rook wins, but I would never play queen takes rook. Maybe Tal would, but I wouldn't. I'm sure Tal wouldn't. You play queen a7 check, and you pick up the knight on f2, and white's up a bishop. So Larsen played queen c8, again, hoping to trade queens, and then they have an endgame with equal material. And Tal, even though his queen is hanging and his rook is hanging, he played queen a7, once again threatening the knight and also threatening queen e7 checkmate. And you can't afford to lose your knight because then you're down a bishop for nothing. And you could stave off defeat by playing knight d3 check because the pawn's pinned. You can't take the knight, but always play king b1. Now white's threatening take the knight and white's threatening queen e7 mate. Frankly, if white was not able to play either of those threats, white would still be winning because look at black's position, terrible. But since white is gonna at least win a knight in this position after queen a7, Larsen resigned. So in 1979, many years after being world champion, Tal still had it. He was still a great player and ended up tying for first in the tournament. Larsen didn't have a good tournament. However, I was there at the event when Larsen beat Karpov with black. The only game Karpov lost, Karpov was the reigning world champion. So Larsen no slouch either. And for those of you who are religious as far as the Scandi is concerned, Larsen beat Karpov in a Scandi. So you should know that game if you're a Scandi fan. Larsen beat the world champion with black in a Scandi. Grandmaster Ben Feingold, that was 5 Minutes with Ben. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.